Hello, my name is Anthony Giarrusso. There is a possibility that I might actually choose to run for governor in the future. Now, if you're watching this and you're a politician, please do take my ideas. I want you to take my ideas, implement them for your own, so then we can just make the world a better place. Don't wait for me. Take action as soon as you possibly can after you listen to this. Something that us Republicans and libertarians, independents, and even people of no political party affiliation, we would all love to see our tax dollars really making some sort of impact that is positive. And we would all agree that what I'm about to propose is something that we all want. There's a problem in Florida, and yes, this problem is in a few other states as well, but there are murder cults among us. And I have a tactical solution that could definitely be implemented. What I would propose is over a 2-year time frame, increase the amount of homicide detectives at every police station by at least 25%. This would mean that if you were in a department that only had one homicide detective, to make that quota, you would have to hire at least one other person. Same if you had 4 other homicide detectives, you would need to have another person, have 5. If you had 10 homicide detectives in your department, then you would need to have 13. And it's very easy for police to hire these people. You might say, well, what about training these people? Well, the people who upgrade their careers to homicide detectives, those people have already been trained. Okay, so it's very easy to do that in a 2-year time frame. Very reasonable. You might say, well, what if these police stations just don't have the room for, a handful more, or 10 more, or 20 more homicide detectives, depending on their department and their size and how many detectives they truly actually have. Because a lot of police stations, they have a lot of different types of detectives, but we want to focus on the homicide detectives. People who are able to go into an area, look at a body, and gather that kind of information and get the individuals who have done such a thing. As you might already know, there's this group called the Ku Klux Klan, and from the information that I've gathered from other police and fusion centers, the Ku Klux Klan typically murders about 1 out of 5 of all homicide cases in my home state. Kind of an issue, right? Another group, they're called Scientologists, and as you might already know, typically with Scientologists, they'll typically write you up before they kill you. But Scientologists kill quite a lot of people, not as much as the Klan does. Followed by Hell's Angels, another group. But I wouldn't necessarily classify Hell's Angels as a homicide group, even though they do use hammers to kill people, like Tool. But they kill a lot of people. Even stranger, a lot of people know about these groups, but I wouldn't label them necessarily the murder cults that I was originally talking about. Most murder cults, at least here in the state of Florida, They have anywhere between 3 and 15 members. They're not big, well-known groups like the KKK or Scientology or Hell's Angels. Typically, these murder cults either kill, maybe one person every month, or sometimes they might only kill maybe 6 or 7 people in a 10-year time frame. But these murder cults do exist in Florida, and the only tactical solution that I deem as truly appropriate is to increase the amount of investigators after these crimes have already taken place. You might say, well, Anthony, shouldn't we find a way to stop all of these murders? And here's the problem with that, okay? Number one, you don't know who they're going to kill next. Number two, you don't know when they're going to kill. You don't know if they plot a killing 4 years in advance, or if it's something that just happens, within like 30 seconds of them just feeling that they need to kill. Typically with cults, they usually plan things out, but that's not necessarily always the case. It is really hard to know how to stop a murder from being committed. And the only thing that I would think of that would actually work would be to infringe on everyone's religious liberties and force everyone to become anti-murder Christians. But unfortunately we have, I should say fortunately, we have religious freedom, and in some ways it's both a blessing and a curse, a double-edged sword. Probably another tactical solution is, if you are a family member watching this, maybe you should start taking your kids to church more often. That might reduce the likeliness of them killing people in the future. It doesn't guarantee that, but it probably will work. Most of the time. Not all the time. But as governor, you get these homicide detectives into the police, you make the world a better place. Potentially even a safer place, right? If you got somebody using these new detectives, and you stopped like an onslaught of like murders across the city or the suburbs or even the more rural areas, hey, not bad, right? I'm Anthony Giarrusso. Definitely consider me for political office if I ever run. Have a great day. Goodbye.